I like talking about war. I'm an open-minded American who understands that just because we're fighting in a war doesn't necessarily mean we're actually fighting for our country. We're fighting often for ideas or against ideas. And I understand that. I'm a libertarian politically. I'm not a Republican or Democrat, so I'm not part of the mainstream system. I can think beyond that, and libertarians often have that viewpoint of why are we at war? Why are we policing the world? Why are we spending all this money to do this? It's not even on our soil, right? So my question though is I'm trying to figure out, I asked recently in a video, I asked people, what's the last justified war that America was involved in? And I think the general consensus was people were saying World War II, all right? So you look at the wars after that, and you look at the Korean War and you look at the Vietnam War. Now, keep in mind, I'm an ignorant American and I wasn't educated as well as the rest of the world on history. I get that, in geography. But my understanding of the Korean War was ultimately we were fighting communism. We didn't want it to spread through the whole country, so we defended South Korea. And look at them now. We have a wonderful military base there now. They're a great ally for us. That worked out pretty well from a political move. It was a political war as we were fighting communism. Fighting the fear of communism spreading to the United States, I guess is more it. Fighting the fear that communism would grow and ultimately become bigger than the United States. So we won the Korean War and we made South Korea part of us as far as how we politically think, as far as democracy, and fighting on the same side as the war and us having our bases there. And then the Vietnam War, my understanding of it, thanks to a lot of you have explained to me that the Vietnam War ultimately happened when France pulled out of Vietnam for 200 years. And then what happens? Well, communism is going to be spreading through Vietnam. So we got to stop the communism again. And of course, then there's Cuba. That just made things messy too. So I guess what I'm trying to think is in an alternate timeline of the United States, let's say, me being the libertarian here, that we decided not to be involved in the Korean War and not to be involved in the Vietnam War. Okay, and all those men never died and all those millions of dollars were never spent on policing those situations and fighting the potential spread of communism. What if we hadn't have done that? I don't know the answer, but my question is, was that ever a legitimate fear that communism would have become so popular that they would have been a true threat to us on American soil? Because we fought in those wars, did it ultimately play a hand in the fact that now, in 2018, the United States is privileged enough to be able to police the world and have well over 600 military bases across the world to remind everyone of our surveillance, as Metallica puts it in their song on the Black Album called Don't Tread on Me. But it just makes me wonder, if I had it my way as a libertarian, and we did not fight other people's wars for them like that, in that way, where it's we're fighting a political spread of some kind of mindset. You know, and I understand, because World War II, okay, they attacked American soil, even though Hawaii wasn't a state yet. And even if we saw it coming and knew about it, still they attacked us. And I think that, and we knew that Japan at the time was basically kind of trying to take over the world, right, I guess. But man, the Korean War and the Vietnam War, had we not ever been involved in those wars, do you think today that communism could have actually been a threat to the United States here in the mainland? I don't know the answer. I don't think any of us really can. Because when we look back and we look how criticized the Vietnam War was, and, you know, I think if we could go back in time and do it now, we wouldn't, right? But what if we did not fight in the Korean War and we did not fight in the Vietnam War? What would that mean for communism spreading to America right here?